Hi there, a warm welcome to you. Welcome to our second episode. My name is Nombulelo Litia. I'm the head of the Specialist Training Programme. What that really means is that I'm a training officer for the Nedbank CA Training Programme, as well as I lead and run the Quants Graduate Programme. If you're watching us today, it means you watched part one and episode one and you thought, this is insightful, I want to come back. And you're probably considering doing your articles within banking, and you have a good Nedbank desire that would like to feed off this through this episode. So I'm not alone in studio. I'm joined by incredible business leaders, alumni, line managers that are going to help us understand and unpack the value offering of the Nedbank CA Training Programme. I'm just going to allow them to introduce themselves, maybe tell us which area in the business, what is it that you do, alma mater, if you want to go that far, where you studied, but just a quick introduction of who you are and so that the audience can get to know you a little bit better. Starting from Andrew.
No, thanks very much. So my name is Andrew Falk. I'm a principal within the structured products team in the investment banking space. Mm-hmm. I've been with the bank for close to 9 years now, but I've been out of articles, I think, for 13 or 14 years now. Started my career, outside of banking. However, straight out of articles, I've been, moved into investment banking space, and it's been very rewarding, and particularly, working with the young talent that this country has to offer.
Awesome. Njilo.
Yebo, madam. So Luyanda Njilo. I'm in global markets. I'm a senior equity research analyst. I did my training actually here at Nedbank. Started off in 2019, finished in 2021. It's been an incredible journey so far.
Do you want to tell the story, or I should tell the story? I will tell you anyway. So I was privileged to interview Louis Andangilo as a student in 2017 when I was head of recruitment. So I'm really proud of myself to have spotted such great talent for the bank and for the leadership role that you've taken. I mean, I see you doing health industry and talking to ministers and explaining the health industry. Really, really proud of the work that you're doing at Nedbank. Lady?
So hi everyone, my name is Claudia Scharberg and I am an associate in the transactional services sales team, specifically looking after the power and infrastructure sector. I qualified as a CA at the start of this year, so freshly out of my articles, and lucky enough to have done them through the Nedbank CA Training Programme.
Awesome. So maybe to kick off, you too have the benefit of hindsight. You've got the 4 letters to your name from this training program, and really congratulations. You guys have made it to the other side of a journey that a lot of people are looking to start and a lot of people that are currently pursuing. Maybe just tell us, Leander, was it worth the pursuit? And maybe also tell us which rotation was really most impactful for your career development.
Yeah, well, definitely worth the pursuit. Long journey, but worth it at the end. And for me, really, the Nedbank program was phenomenal in the sense that you were able to sort of tailor make your rotation and pick exactly where you want to go. So I did 3 rotations that were really beneficial for me. So I started off in group finance. Group finance was really good in terms of setting out the lay of the land, understanding the bank in the different clusters. So it really helped me understand what we do as a bank. And then the second one, which was my rotation in Namibia, I'd say that one was most impactful because I stepped into the role of a financial manager 6 months into my working career. We were basically doing a handover, so the financial manager literally said, I have 2 weeks to teach you and then I'm gone. I was like, wow, okay, cool. So I had 2 weeks to pick up that role. But what it taught me is that, you can be technically sharp, but if you don't have the confidence and belief in yourself, then you won't be able to execute properly. So it really gave me the confidence going forward in my career to say that even if I don't know something, I'll figure it out. And then global markets, that's where I stayed. I love that job. So yeah.
It loves you too. It definitely loves you too. So maybe both to you, Leander and Claudia, what are some of the skills that you've gained through the training program, whether through pre-I or technical rotations that you've done, that you really feel are transferable for the rest of your career? You feel that this skill set will really set you apart for the rest of the roles that are ahead of you?
I think for me, it's the soft skills that you pick up. And specifically on the Nedbank CA Training Programme, you pick those up through program involvement. It's not often that you get to take on leadership positions so early into your working career. And it's not often that you have to lead your peers, which I think is a role that is often very overlooked. It's very easy to lead when you are in a position of power, but when you are leading people who are your equals, there's a whole different set of nuances that you have to take on. But that's so transferable to business, because I'm not often working with everyone and anyone in the bank. I'm working with people who are on my level, and you have to display that level of leadership to make sure that your credit paper gets pushed above Andrew's credit paper to get reviewed, because you want to meet your deadline. You have to make sure that this person can run you a favor because your client submitted their financials late and you don't want them to go into default. It's small things like that building relationships and being able to know how to relate to people who are both on your level, but then also having the opportunity to meet with leaders within the bank, to interact with your training officers so regularly, to interact with line managers and managing execs and divisional execs within the spaces that you're rotating in. You also then learn how to interact with people who are far above you in terms of a hierarchy, and that itself is its own skill, and maybe you learn that a little bit more through your rotation work, but the mix of them together really creates an all-rounded individual who's able to relate with, and more importantly, to work with anyone.
For you, Leander, some transferable skills. I mean, when you're speaking to ministers, is it still the program? Is it you? Who is it? Is it me? Is it how we developed you?
I think it's a bit of both, so 100% everything she said. But also the program, we do like a CSI initiative in the beginning. So early on in your career, you pick that up, that listen, everything that I do also has to be impactful to the community. So, I mean, like you've said, speaking to ministers, you're not really focused on bottom line, you're focused on the society at large. And then, I mean, financial experts who do good, we really take that to heart. So that from the program I really took. And then the second one is just running and managing projects concurrently with doing your actual job. Because, sometimes you're planning roadshows and other things, but you still have day-to-day deliverables. So that balance, managing your time really well. The program, did really well in teaching that, or us that.
Great. And maybe, Andrew, you can also contribute here, having done your articles in TIP. If somebody is making that decision now, what advice would you give them? They're currently making the decisions. Should I be going tip or top? What are some of the factors you'd ask them to consider, especially having done both now?
It's a very interesting question. As you said, coming through the from a traditional audit firm versus coming through a top program. I think from a tip perspective, you'll see that it's a very structured route that you go through, because throughout all 3 years, what you're assigned to do, what are some of the sections, and all the different technical skills that you get to learn and grasp. Versus from a top perspective, because as Claudia and Leander has mentioned, it's still very structured. You do your first year within finance, and then either you rotate through the rest of the business area within CIB. However, because we are particularly in a global markets and an investment bank, and even from a transactional services space, these are the frontline business units of a bank, and it's very dynamic. And sometimes what you'll see is there may not be structure at times, because you're in a live business environment. Things change, markets change, and that becomes on a very day-to-day, things, Leander, before this podcast, we were just talking about, for example, the current, market volatility, the geopolitical volatilities that's happening. Some of these things we can't predict, as we sit here, and literally, within next 10 minutes, something could dramatically happen, and you have to be quite adaptable and understand, okay, what needs to be done, and things like that. So that I would say is a very, that I would imagine, or from what I've seen, are the big differences. However, as I said, from a for someone there are pros in both tip and top. As we all know, the most important thing is achieving the 4 letters behind your name.
Maybe over to you, Leander and Claudia. What would you have done differently in your article journey? And how would you encourage current trainees to make the most of this great experience?
So first thing, spend as much time with your mates as possible. You'll be surprised.
After articles.
But some of the best relationships I've actually built were through the program. Those people that I started the program with are still mates till this day. So I definitely prioritize spending time with those guys. But even more so, being involved in the program. You take it for granted. the skills that you actually learn from the program, but also how it shapes you as an individual over and above just your professional career, as an overall well-rounded person. Like I mentioned, the CSI program, put your hand up, be that person that, you always want to lead stuff, you always want to be involved, because those opportunities, they don't always come through. But also going forward, it gives you the confidence that even in your rotation or in your professional career, when things come up, you have the skill set to lead projects and do stuff because you've done it so many times before. So I'd definitely do more of that.
Can that be on loudspeaker? Do more for the program. And for you, Claudia?
I think it's very similar, but I think we underestimate how much the program provides a very safe space to learn and therefore provides a very safe space to fail. And so while you are on the program, it's your time to put your hand up for something. Maybe I feel that I'm not great at public speaking, but it probably is something that you're going to need within your career, unless you are going to sit and run models in the back and never speak to anyone and be one of those quants that we can never get a hold of when there's an emergency. But if there's something that you feel that you're not great at, now is the time to embrace the opportunity that the program gives you and to learn and develop yourself. And it takes a little bit of introspection. It takes a little bit of time to figure out, these are the things I'm good at, these are the things I'm bad at. And I think as people, we always tend to shift towards the things we're good at. We want to play to our strengths, but having the vulnerability to say, oh, I've identified this one thing that is a little bit more of a weakness than a strength. How can I leverage what the program offers me to turn that into a strength? So by the time that I am signing off as a CA, to use Saika's language, I am a CA of the future. I am a well-rounded CA who's coming into business ready to hit the ground running.
I like that. Safe place to learn and a safe space to fail as well. So moving on to you, maybe the focus and the spotlight is going to be on Andrew. When he introduced himself, he says, I'm Andrew, I'm a principal. He did not mention that he was one of the line managers who were voted as one of the best talent developers in 2024. We really value the relationship that we have with line managers because they are the people that really partner with the program to nurture and develop this young talent. So, Andrew, perhaps, can you tell us how you describe the team culture that the trainees experience in your team?
It's, first of all, thanks very much. It's Claudia already actually mentioned it. What's very important is that when we look at CA trainees, this is the start of their professional career. And it's very important that we develop a safe, a learning, and a performance-driven culture and an inclusive culture for the trainees. This is their start of their career, and it's important, as Claudia mentioned, it's important for them to feel safe, to have the ability to achieve and to fail. And having that kind of those four aspects, we've seen how it allows them to really develop and come through on their own.
I like that. Safe learning environments. Okay. Maybe also just talk us through some meaningful transactions that the trainees have supported that you're really proud of. Obviously, the ones that you can share with us, just to get a sense of what they do when they're in the team.
I think from there, from our team perspective, we're really involved in across tons and tons of different sectors. For them, for example, what's one of some of the most meaningful is the ability for them to see actually, transactions such as within the ICT space, so your telecommunication space, some of the non-bank financial institutions. They actually get to see, the kind of real business environment and what people actually do to drive the South African economy, to actually be able and understand them, why business leaders do certain things in order to grow their company and the South African economy itself. So from that perspective, typically trainees see, very impactful to say, oh, wow, so this is what, for example, a Woolies does, or this is what a Vodacom does. And that's for them, it's very insightful because now they're seeing the nitty gritty, not just particularly for accounting trainees. Typically, you still see a lot of it's the balance sheet, the income statement. Here, you're actually seeing the practicalities beyond the numbers.
It sounds like a great and a lovely experience. Maybe my last question before I rope in Luyanda and Claudia. What support structures or systems, does your team particularly provide to make sure that the trainees have that safe learning environment?
Absolutely. It's one thing it's for example, like myself, it's a responsibility of mine to provide that safe and inclusive and learning culture with them. I've always maintained, and same with, for example, the rest of our team, we always have a genuine open door policy for you to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions, and most importantly, apply your mind. What I've always said to all the trainees and even some of the members that are post qualification is that there's a difference. So all three of us, or all four of us here are CASAs. The difference probably between the four of us is that maybe I have a couple of more years of experience compared to yourselves. However, the technical knowledge, you guys probably are stronger than I am, because you guys just came out. You guys are more up to date with the latest IFRS and tax knowledge. However, it's about learning and applying your mind to that. And for us, it's very important for you to actually speak your mind, and don't be afraid to put up your hand and say, well, I think the solution should be X. And it's for me then to say, well, I always ask, why do you think the solution is X? Can you substantiate it? And a lot of trainees sometimes are like, oh, geez. Then they start to reapply them based on their academic knowledge and start applying their minds to say, well, practically from an academic, this is how you transpose into or translate into practical business solutions.
Maybe you guys can rope in. You've been in rotations, you've had teams, you've had structures. Perhaps as a trainee, what type of structures, were available to you that really made you feel supported and really accelerated your learning journey?
It's interesting because, last year, if I'd been sitting here, I would have spoken as a trainee and spoken about the structures. And then this year I get to sit as a qualified CA and now a manager. And I think it's all about, again, it's providing that safe space, but it's also leveraging the skills that the trainees have that we might not have. I think I'm very lucky to be in a very dynamic, very fast-moving team. But often there are things that trainees know how to do. When I graduated university, ChatGPT wasn't really a thing. And so it's taken a lot of upskilling from my side to understand how to use it. But the trainees that I'm seeing come through the rotation now can almost use it like it's a third hand. They know exactly how to prompt it. They know exactly how to use it. And bringing those, maybe we don't see them as technical skills, but things like digital acumen, things like a fresh set of eyes on a problem that we've been having for so long, but someone seeing it a different way, and then making sure that they feel they have a voice to say, actually, have we ever thought about doing it like this? And I was very lucky that when I was a trainee in the team, I was given those opportunities. And so for me, it's the responsibility of making sure that the trainees have the same good experience I had by replicating the environment, and maybe in one or two places saying, these are things that when I was a trainee, I felt like could be done better by a manager. How can I make sure that I am now that better manager? It's about being the manager you needed when you were a trainee.
100%. And I think maybe to add to Claudia's point is the buddy system that the CA program actually has. It does really benefit you, because when you come in, you have someone who's senior, who's walked the journey, who's able to advise you on how to navigate different rotations, the bank, and therefore you feel like you're not really starting from scratch, but you're starting from someone's experience and platform, and then you're building on from there. So that's really beneficial in terms of learning how to navigate.
And actually, to also add to, the points, it's very important for us to build up a good trust level between us. That becomes very crucial, particularly, again, in a live business environment on that. And that's something I really try to aim to support that with the trainees.
Awesome. Maybe to wrap this one up, it's maybe directed to you, Andrew. Nedbank really believes in leaders being talent builders. So what's your why? You recently and in previous years have been nominated to be a fantastic leader. What's your why? What's your conviction around developing young talent within the bank?
This is definitely a very passionate question, or a big passion of mine. To give you a little bit of history, I've been very fortunate and privileged, both from the past and currently, to have phenomenal and impactful mentors to me. And for me, it's really about, giving back to the profession that has given so much to me thus far. And particularly, when I look at the young, bright finance talent that comes through Nedbank. I mean, I know you guys have done a fantastic job in recruiting some of the best that one can find in the country, and it's really inspirational and rewarding to watch them and to be part of their journey, to actually see how they grow and develop into, tomorrow's business leaders. For example, there's so many trainees that have come through that are like right now working in Europe and in Asia, and see how they flourish. And for me, it's just been phenomenal, because similar to what Claudia has just said, I try to be someone that has what I want to be, if when they were managing me, or how I could have done it better. So for me, it's just really, to be honest, I never thought it was, but until I really got into it, then I found that it's been a phenomenal journey to have worked across with so many that have come through, and as Claudia said, I actually learned a lot from the guys coming through, as you said, some of the digital acumens and some of the more current stuff. It's certainly this been amazing.
Thank you so much, and we really value your partnership. I mean, you represent all the line managers we have in our program. We value their support and their partnership. They really raise our trainees to be seasoned bankers that we're really proud of. Maybe moving on into learning and development interventions. You both passed APC and you were supported by the program. So maybe, Claudia, talk us through, how did Nedbank support you through your second board course?
So Nedbank supported in multiple ways. The first way is by being very generous with study leave.
Yeah, you want to quantify the generosity?
So we are given 15 days of study leave, and that is both on a first and, if you need it, a second attempt at your board course. So it's not a situation of you fail it once and we let go of your hand and you're kind of, no longer being supported. You're offered that support throughout both attempts, and that goes for all of the interventions. The other interventions is that Nedbank pays for the board course you choose to do, but they also allow you autonomy over which board course you would like to choose to do, which gives you the ability to tailor it to yourself and say, I want to do this course because of X, Y, and Z, and Nedbank supports you in that. They also then have third-party interventions, additional simulations, additional workshops that really ensure that when you are walking into that exam on the day, you're feeling as ready as possible. And then, as always, you have a network of people who've gone before you, and you can reach out to almost anyone and say, how did you structure your days when you were studying? How did you deal with the pressure? Things like that. Having those people to talk to, having people who you say they've done it, it's one of the biggest helps that you can have.
Maybe just to add on that as well, over and above for paying for board courses, Nedbank CA Training Programme also sponsors bursaries for any trainees who might be interested in doing CFA and other certifications as part of their journey with us. Maybe to you, Luyanda, you attended CASE, the CA seminar experience. Maybe talk to us, how would you encourage somebody who's thinking about CASE? What's your thought around doing CASE before making a decision to join the bank?
No, 100%. So I had the privilege of being part of the Nedbank CASE delegation. I also did the RMB one, first round one. And I also had the privilege of going through InvestTech program as well. What it gives you is an understanding of the culture, the environment you're going to be working in, the people that you're going to be interacting with, but also really what the bank stands for and possibly how you can navigate within that space. So the reason why I basically chose Nedbank over all the other banks was, at the end of the CASE program, I actually realized that this is the environment in which I can thrive, given my technical ability and also my personality as well. When they say that the culture of Nedbank is really inclusive, that people are good, I actually got to witness that through the CASE program. And also, CASE was really nice. You guys treated us really well. You sold us.
That's the whole purpose. That's the whole purpose, to position Nedbank as an employer of choice. So yes, the vacation work program happens every year in December, and applications always open in August for third year students that are currently preparing to go into PDGA. Thank you so much for the insightful conversation and for sharing your Nedbank experience with us. Perhaps as a parting shot, can each of you maybe talk to us, why is Nedbank not only a great place to bank, but also a great place to work?
It's been embodied throughout this conversation. Nedbank is a great place to work because it's a great place to learn. And that learning doesn't stop when you finish your articles. You come here every day and you have to be open to learning something new. As Andrew was saying, we work in such an agile, such a volatile environment that if you say, okay, I'm signed off as a CA now, I'm done with learning, I'm not learning a single new thing, it's never going to work. But Nedbank fosters an environment where learning is easy. It happens through conversations. It happens through interventions that the bank has. And having that ability to learn makes sure that A, you hit your CPD goals, and B, you continue to build yourself into an even more well-rounded professional throughout the course of your career. And it's why people stay at the bank so long. It's why people who signed off a few years ago are still here, because that culture and that environment that the CA training program starts you on doesn't finish when you end the program.
100. For me, I would say it's definitely the culture. You have really bright, really sharp people who are driven by more than just the bottom line. It's purpose driven. So we're really impactful. When we say we're financial experts who do good, you see it in some of the deals that we structure, some of the projects that we're involved in. And also Nedbank just gives you that platform to be able to run with that project. And it gives you the tools that you need to be able to execute. So it's a really great place to work.
So for me, actually, as the two have touched on, besides, the actual business side of things, it's definitely, ultimately we are people. And, as they all say, the greatest asset the bank has are its people. And again, coming from a tip background, I have seen the camaraderie that, each year that the CA trainee has built amongst themselves, the culture and interaction. It's just been amazing to have seen that, and the benefits and the smiles that come out of, and the friendship that comes out of that has been phenomenal from that. So I think that's it stands out amongst some of the other programs that are out there.
Awesome. So thank you so much for having us and for coming through to the studio. And thank you so much for watching this episode. And we really hope this conversation has been insightful for you. And it has really sparked a deep Nedbank desire for you to come train and develop here. Wishing you all the best for your academic career and also for your future career. And we hope that it will definitely end in CSA for you. From us in studio, it's a wrap.